Yuko again here from Myojo USA, and we're here with Keizo-san. He's going to be showing us around his research and development lab today.
Yeah, today I'm showing you where all the magic happens, and you know what? It's in my garage. But yeah, I'm a ramen chef and I'm director of innovation for Myojo. So what I do is a lot of research in my garage where I do all these different things and try to come up with different recipes. And once I come up with a good recipe, that's when we go back to the factory and make it for real. So you want to go check it out?
Yep.
All right, let's go. So yeah, this is my research and development lab. So I got the noodle machine from Japan right here. And believe it or not, I have 15 different flours from around the world here. And similar to what we use at the Myojo factory.
All
and
in the garage?
Yeah, all in my garage. It's taking work from home to a new level. Yeah, today we're going to be making two styles of noodles. And one is an Iekei style, and another one is a Taishoken style Tsukemen. So Iekei is a type of ramen that became popular in the 1970s. Main shop that started it was called Yoshimura-ya, and the owner, Yoshimura-san, used to be a truck driver, and he would drive all over Japan eating ramen. And he basically fell in love with the Tokyo Shoyu Ramen and the Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen. He actually took those two flavors and made Tonkotsu Shoyu Ramen. So today those noodles are going to be a little bit chewier, a little higher hydration, and a little flat. They're really interesting. The soup is thicker tonkotsu shoyu broth, so flat noodles really kind of stick to that soup. And the other style is the Tsukemen. Higashi Ikebukuro Taishoken was sort of the founder of that, and back in the 1950s is when that started. It was almost like a staff meal where noodles were always left to the side, and then at the end of a shift, someone would just take cold noodles and put it in a hot soup, sort of like soba. These noodles will be chewy, thicker, and a lot smoother. So we'll make those two today. You ready to see how it happens?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's go. So first we're gonna make the Iekei style noodles. So with any noodle recipe, the water is very important because water is such a minimal part of the overall recipe that any slight change could drastically change the final noodle. And next we're gonna put in the kansui powder. And kansui is the most important ingredient for ramen. It is what makes ramen noodle ramen. Basically, kansui is a makeup of sodium carbonate and potassium carbonate, and depending on those ratios, you can control the texture of the noodle or the color of the noodle as well. So next, we're gonna measure our salt. Salt actually helps in forming a noodle as well. It gives it some more body and stiffness. So one last thing, Iekei noodles are also known to be a little bit yellower on the color side. We're gonna put a little food coloring to enhance the yellow color. Okay, so we're gonna measure out the flour. Today, we are going to be blending 3 types of flours for the Iekei noodle. And I said before, we have like 15 different types of noodles here. They all have a different spec. Some have higher in moisture, some are higher in protein or higher in ash content. Blending different types will allow us to get for what I think is a good noodle for a certain recipe. So now we have all the flour in the mixer, and before we put any water in, we're gonna just mix the dry flour just so we can aerate it. We will trickle the water inside as it's mixing. Once it's done mixing, that's when we'll feed the soboro type dough into the machine here with the rollers. These 2 rollers are really heavy pieces of metal that will flatten out the dough and create a sheet. Then we will fold 2 sheets into one and put that through the machine. So now that we've combined 2 sheets, and right here we're going to let it rest for 30 minutes and bag it so it doesn't dry out. Now we're going to thin it out a few more times before we cut it. The sheet is being extended every time you pass it through the rollers.
Right.
So then as it thins, the sheet extends, the gluten forms, at the end the noodles will be nice texture. And the way we cut it is we have different types of cutters that we can slide in here. Very end, if you push this lever, that sheet will go down into the cutter and the noodles will come out on the belt. So next we're going to be making the Tsukemen noodle. And the difference with the Tsukemen noodle is, although it's still high in hydration, we're going to add only sodium carbonate. And also for the flour, we are still blending 3 different types, but I'm going for a more white color noodle and a lot chewer, so a lot more moisture and less ash content. So the technique and the process will be the same, but the only thing different is the thickness that we start off with and the thickness that we end up with. So here are the 2 noodles we made today. In my left hand is the Iekei noodle, and in my right hand is the Taishoken style Tsukemen noodle. Even after we cut it, resting about 24 hours in the fridge is ideal. So it becomes more and more firm. Also, the gluten will have time to develop. All right, I got water boiling in the kitchen, so I'll go get in there.
All right.
Hang tight. So here we are, this is the Iekei Ramen.
It looks so good.
So I actually made this using the Myojo retail kits. So since Tonkotsu Shoyu is the staple of Iekei Ramen, I took the Shoyu Chuka Soba retail pack and I took the Shio Tonkotsu premium pack and I blended it together.
Itadakimasu. Oh my god, it's so good.
The noodles are so fresh too.
Yeah. It has like a good amount of like koshi. It's not too chewy, but it's not too firm at the same time, if that makes sense.
It's that perfect blend of firm and soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about the soup? Have you ever combined Myojo packs before?
The soup isn't very thick. I think also because the Shio Tonkotsu in general isn't too thick, but it has like a hint of shoyu in it. So it makes the flavor even more rich, I think. Yeah, and it matches the noodles pretty well.
You know what? I think today's the perfect day to teach you how to slurp. So basically, when you slurp, you don't take too much. So don't take too much noodles. You just kind of inhale the noodle and let it come to your mouth. That's better.
It's kind of scary because I'm inhaling air.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta be careful of these little pieces of negi and nori when you slurp. So here we have the tsukemen that we made earlier. I used the Signature Shoyu Myojo pack to make this.
Just before even I eat this, like I can tell that it looks very mochi mochi.
Yeah, I'm glad you said mochi mochi because this inspiration came from, you know, the founder of Tsukemen, which is Higashi Taishoken. And their noodles are very, very chewy and thick and soft. So it really matches with the lighter soup.
I'm excited to eat it.
Alright, let's try it out.
Itadakimasu. But the noodles are really good. It's really, really bouncy. I like this. Yeah, so I know you mentioned about how you use Signature Shoyu for this one. So how did you exactly make this?
Like, Tsukemen is a really deep flavor because you want it to stick to the noodles. So basically I took the Signature Shoyu pack. Instead of putting the entire packet into one of our bowls, I split it up. And I also added other enhancers like vinegar and my chili oil.
Right.
And also I put in some chashu, like cut up, and also negi. So this allows it for, you know, anybody can do this at home.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that. Yeah, like anyone could just buy our packs and just try it at home on their own and make this into Tsukemen or Iekei. Yeah, I want to try this at home as well. Keizo-san, ごちそうさまでした. Thank you so much. That was so good. And it was super cool seeing you make everything from scratch and then actually being able to eat that.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how I go through my research and development. Hopefully the noodles we made today, that they'll reach the consumer pretty soon, like either at a ramen restaurant or in one of our retail packs. Next up, what do we got?
We're actually doing something really fun and unique. We're having some surprise guests, so look out for that. And we'll be utilizing our tsukemen that we just ate. Yeah,
We'll
look
be
out for that.
feeding them.
Yeah.
A lot of
whatever
tsukemen.
that means.
And don't forget to subscribe, that button right there. Over here, one of those, yeah.
See you next time.
All right, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.